Good morning. Today I wanted to talk about, of course, ministering, but I want to talk about ideas. A lot of people I've been seeing, and I've talked about this before, but a lot of people, they don't know how to minister. I've literally seen them say things like, I wish they'd bring back visiting teaching. I miss doing visiting teaching. I don't like doing ministering. I don't know how to do ministering. I knew how to do visiting teaching. It's the same thing, only just a little, I would say a little less stressful. But it's the same thing. Visiting teaching is just a name change with a little more emphasis on making sure that we're serving them, which is how I was always raised. Visiting teaching is that we were to serve, to make sure they were okay, to help them when needed, to check on them randomly, and then once a month we would give them a lesson. That's how I was raised. And the lesson was, I think that's the main thing that's changed, is the lesson. Because the lesson was actually outlined for us in visiting teaching, where now we go and find our own. So it's easier. We still check on them. We still make sure they're okay. We still lend service when service is needed. We still take meals in if that's needed. The only thing in my upbringing from visiting teaching to ministering that has changed is there's no longer a set lesson. You can do a lesson if you want, or you can just talk about a scripture or leave a scripture with them. It's not a you have to do a lesson every single month thing. And I think that's the only thing that's changed, at least in the way I was brought up. So I'm not sure how other people did their visiting teaching, but in reality, that's how your visiting teaching should have been being done anyways. So it's not really changed. It's just gotten a little easier. We just need to make sure that we're checking on our families. We need to make sure that we're praying for our families. Both things that we should have been doing in the past. We need to be taking in meals if they are in need. Something that we always did when I was growing up. I remember Mom would always make chicken, because we raised chickens, and potatoes, because we had potatoes usually from Grandma's garden. We'd all get together and do a garden with Grandma, because she had water rights, and we usually didn't have water. Sometimes not even running water. And so we would just do Grandma's garden, and we would go up and we would weed it, and we would help take care of it. And so we always had potatoes from the garden. Not always, but most of the time. And then chicken, because we raised chickens. And she would make these yummy little potatoes that my kids devour when I make them. And so you just cut the potato in half if it's a small potato, into 3 partials if it's a fatter, bigger potato. And then you just put butter down on the pan, and you sprinkle, we would use seasoning salt, but you can just use salt and pepper if you want. And then you just bake until the front side is crispy. And anyways, so my kids love that. Super simple meal. Yummy. But that's how I remember being raised, is that you would do service for your families, and then you would give the lesson, and the lesson that you had to give was outlined. And honestly, to me, that's the only thing that's changed. I would love to hear what other people feel. Did you do it differently? Were we doing it wrong? I don't know. But now we still should be giving, maybe not necessarily a lesson, but maybe reading a paragraph out of a talk or scripture and then discussing it with them. Now, I'm not great at my ministering. I wish I was better. But I am one that feels like I'm being a burden on my ministers. So I like to just send them little, I check on them usually, sadly, on Sundays. I try to check on them once or twice a month. If there's something big going on that month, like for conference, I will give them like conference packets for the kids and them to do. But I don't go to the home once a month. I do check on them, but I don't go to the home. I feel very uncomfortable doing that. Not that it's, I feel like it's imposing. And I have, unfortunately, I'm not able to get with my companion a lot. Like, I don't know if she's very busy or if she doesn't like me. I kind of think it might be both. But, so it's hard. My daughter recently became a minister, and I was so excited, and I was hoping they would give her to me. I even mentioned that, hey, you can just, have us be companions. That would be awesome. Unfortunately, they didn't. They gave her to somebody else, which she's excited because it's a lady in the Word that she really, really likes. Super fun lady. So she's pretty excited about that. I'm pretty bummed because I'm back to not being able to get my companion to sometimes even answer me. But we just move forward because we don't know what they're going through in their life. And maybe they're struggling. So those of you who have companions like me that just don't get with you, remember that even reaching out to them may make a difference in their life, even if we don't see that it does. But ministering is simple, guys. It's not any different than visiting teaching, except for you don't have a set lesson. Find your own lesson. Find something you've been studying in the scriptures that has really hit you and share that experience with them. Put it on a little card. Mother's Day's coming up. Make a little dessert or make a card or buy a card if you're not crafty. Buy a little flower from Walmart or the local nursery. That's going to cost you, what, $1.30, $2 maybe, and put a little note on it with, your testimony or your favorite scripture or something like that. You don't even have to take anything to him, but those are some nice ideas. That's one thing I do like to do is give ideas of things. Sorry, I'm really shaky this morning. And I got a new phone case and I can't set it down. It doesn't have the stand on it, so I'm kind of bummed. You don't have to do something extravagant. It can be something as simple as texting them a scripture or a quote for the day. Or I like to, if there's so a lot of times I will pray for what my, sisters need. And then when I'm scrolling through, my daughter and I like to watch videos on our free time. We'll take a little bit of time and watch videos on TikTok or Facebook. And if there is one that hits me that I feel is for my ministering sisters, I will actually pray about it. If there's one that they need, let me know. Now, I don't know if it's ever been one that they need or not, but I am assuming that it has been because I've prayed about it. And then one will pop up that I'll just feel like overwhelmed to send to one of them. And sometimes it's the same one to both of them, and sometimes it's a different one. But And sometimes I'll get an overwhelming feeling for, oh, this needs to go to Sister so-and-so, but the other one, I don't get anything, so I just send her the same one, you know? It can be so simple. Let them know that you're thinking about them. Let them know that you care. Pray for them. And then just do it like visiting teaching if you want. If you are stuck on the visiting teaching way, then do it the same way. Do an actual lesson. There's no difference. As long as you're checking on them and you are making sure that they are okay, that is what we're supposed to be doing. So if you want to sit down and have an actual lesson, do so. Go for it. Do it exactly like you did visiting teaching, because that's kind of how we're supposed to do it. Anyways, so I just wanted to say this, and you know, if you guys did it differently, let me know. Please remember to subscribe and share so that we can grow the channel and hopefully get this out to people who are needing to see it. I know there are people out there, because it's been 3 years now that I have felt strongly to do it, and I slack in it badly, but I need you guys' help to get it out there. So if you'll subscribe, comment, so that we can get, I think it's called algorithm. Anyways, you know, you got to do the whole comment thing and everything. If you wouldn't mind, excuse me, I've got a silly frog in my throat, I think. If you wouldn't mind doing that, that would be amazing, because I know that there are sisters out there who are needing this, and it's going to help them. So, alright, thank you so much. Love you.